with the winners of the Dundee United Morton game booking a play-off against Partick Thistle. Defeat for the Fifers would open the door for their opponents, although Dunfermline are guaranteed a play-off place. But they're convinced they can make it to the big time after last week's confidence booster. After stumbling at the final hurdle in the past 3 seasons, Dunfermline are out to make amends this time. They feel that last week's win over title favourites Dundee United has given everyone a massive boost. With 3 victories over Airdrie so far this season, the signs certainly point to the Fifers. And assistant boss Dick Campbell is convinced past failures are all the motivation the players will need.
We know the pains of losing. We were in the dugout, in the dressing room the last 2 Saturdays. We also have got to be very aware of dropping into the same situation as Dundee United were on Saturday. You don't get anything, particularly a championship medal, unless you earn it. So we're down, our feet are on the ground. We know what we've got to do on Saturday. We know if we win the game, we're the champions in the division. There's surely no bigger carrot for any player to play in. We'll have 12,000 people here, and they'll be an advantage to us. We've got home advantage, and everything's looking as if it's favouring us. But we know the pitfalls. There's no way. Our experience tells us that we will not take anything for granted, Alan.
The Fifers have taken several knocks along the way this season, none worse than the death of skipper Norrie McCarthy. And all along the players have said they want desperately to win the title in his memory.
It's always at the back of our minds each time we come into training. His space is empty, his jeep's not parked half on the road, half on the car park. So we miss him a lot, but we're determined on Saturday that we can go out and put a good show on and hopefully win and get promotion.
Dunfermline will be without last week's goal scorer Stuart Petrie, who was ordered off at Tannadice. Dundee United's title aspirations now lie in Airdrie's hands, but they know they must beat Morton if they hope to cling to a Premier League lifeline. Despite last week's disappointment, the fans have promised to flock to Greenock to lend their support. Dundee United's fans have followed their side faithfully this season, winning endless praise from manager Billy Kirkwood. They're expected to head for Greenock in their thousands, hoping the Tannadice team can give them something to celebrate after last week's dreadful anti-climax. And United know how important their backing will be.
Well, it'll be vital because you could have about 12,000 there. Possibly 7,000, 8,000 of the Morton supporters, so it'll be vital for us to create a good atmosphere and of course for the players to go out and do the business for them.
After Dunfermline scored last week, Christian Daly twice hit the woodwork, but for most of the game desperation took over from composure. Kirkwood doesn't want a repeat tomorrow.
That's the hardest thing because I think the fans get that way as well because everybody's desperate to get back up. You've got to get a happy balance between the desperation and being really determined to do the things necessary to win a game. You've got to have the calmness about you to do that, plus allied to the desperation or the will to win, the determination to win. There's a happy balance and sometimes it goes out the window, and that's what happened last Saturday against Dunfermline. After losing the silly goal early on, then the players became a wee bit desperate, along with the fans as well. I think everybody was expecting us to go and have great celebrations after the game and everything, but as I said earlier, that doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you've got to work that wee bit harder to get the points that are necessary, and that's what we'll have to do on Saturday.
Having spared no expense to put a championship winning team together, the prospect of a last gasp failure doesn't bear thinking about at Tannadice.
Oh, it'd be a massive disaster. I mean, it'd be terrible. I mean, to actually blow something like that. I mean, last week we were 90 minutes away from getting back in the Premier League and we didn't get back in. So this week, I mean, we're really lucky. We've actually got another chance that we can maybe come in another way. I mean, Dunfermline, they've got to beat Airdrie. As long as we look after ourselves down at Morton, I mean, we can't help but, I mean, as long as Airdrie maybe do us a favour. If not, I mean, we might have the play-off at the end of it. But we've just got to really look after ourselves.
For Dave Bowman, failure would be a double disaster. His testimonial year started with United being relegated. He desperately hopes it won't end with another season in the First Division. In the Premier Division, Aberdeen,
which team will play off for a Premier place. Leaders Dunfermline, 2 points in front of their rivals, are at home to Airdrie. Dundee United and Morton, who are joint second, separated only on goal difference, clash at Capello. If Dunfermline or Morton take the title, the trophy will be flown to their ground by helicopter. If it's Dundee United, the presentation will take place at Tannadice at the start of next season. Forbes McFall reports.
Head flick on by Moore. Johnson trying to tip there, and Petrie scores!
Stuart Petrie's goal and Dunfermline's victory at Tannadice last weekend has put the Fifers in pole position to lift the First Division title. A win tomorrow would clinch the championship.
I think it's the first time for the last 4 or 5 years that it's in their own hands. Going into the last game, they're at home, so things are different this year.
Dunfermline fans have waited patiently to celebrate the club's return to the Premier Division. The Nearly team, the Pars, have just missed promotion 3 seasons in a row, falling at the final hurdle.
With them failing in the last 3 or 4 years, it builds up. It certainly builds up into a big psychological barrier, and the media shouting out that we've not got bottle and all that only add to it. But we quietened all them last week, so we're hoping to quieten everybody this week and show that there are no nerves here.
There may be nerves at Tannadice, but the Dundee United squad were showing little sign of them this morning. United had been favourites to go up, but last week's defeat has put the pressure back on the players.
From day one, we always wanted to get promoted back into the Premier League. Now, whether that was winning the Championship or whether it was getting to the playoffs, then it didn't really matter. And we're in that position just now, so we've got to do something about it. We didn't do something about it last Saturday. We had the opportunity to win the Championship outright. We didn't take that chance, but we've got a second bite of the cherry.
After the pain of relegation last season, Kirkwood has spent big money to rebuild his team. A failure to return to the Premier Division would prove costly.
We've missed a lot of sponsorship, and the fans have turned out in good numbers, but I'm sure if we were in the Premier League it would be even greater numbers coming out to watch the lads. But it's vital for the city as well. There's a lot of pubs and clubs missed out financially because of the season in the First Division. They've missed the Rangers and the Celtic and Aberdeen and the Hearts all coming up to Dundee, and it's something that everybody's looking forward to getting back into the Premier League.
And so too are Morton, after a 9-year absence. After promotion last season from the Second Division, they've surprised themselves and their fans with their bid for Premier status.
I think they're more than happy with what's happened this season, but the boys have got ourselves into a position now where we want to take that step further and get us into the Premier League without a doubt. We're not just happy to get a wee pat in the back and say we've done well this season. We're wanting to go the whole hog now.
And Morton's unofficial team mascot, Floyd the Iguana, he won't be at Capello tomorrow, says his owner, biding his time for the new Premier season.
Floyd on football, that could make a series.
One will be promoted as champions, one will go into a playoff with Partick Thistle, and one will miss out completely. Dunfermline are leading the way, and even a point against Airdrie at East End Park would almost certainly be enough to give them the title. Only goal difference separates Dundee United and Morton, and they go head-to-head tomorrow at Capello.
Dunfermline want promotion badly. They've had too many near misses for their own good. But Dundee United are only 2 points behind in their bid to bounce straight back to the Premier Division. Morton are there too, hoping to follow one promotion party with another. St Johnstone are now out of it, but well placed to comment on who will fill the top 2 places tomorrow night.
If you'd said to Bert Payton at the start of the season, you'll be going into the last game, and if you win it, you go up, you'd have settled for that. We all wrote him off, Dunfermline off to all our peril last week. And in the end, Bert's had a very traumatic 2 seasons where they've been battling every year for it, and they've been disappointed. And I must admit, I would like to think that he's worked very hard over the last 3 years, that he reaped the benefits maybe this Saturday coming.
I'm sure they will. I mean, I think that the last couple of seasons, I remembered when I was there, the last game of the season was if we won and someone else dropped something, that Dunfermline would get promotion. And so I think this time it's in their own hands, and I think a draw will see them up.
And as you say, you've been part of the heartbreak before.
Yeah, and it was a big disappointment. And it was Airdrie that really killed us off the year I was there. There was 2 games to go, and we went to the last game ever at Broomfield, and we ended up, the beat us 1-0. And Airdrie always lift their game against Dunfermline, I think from the semi-final days of the League Cup. So it's going to be a hard game for them, but I think they'll be all right on the day.
Dunfermline's win at Tannadice last Saturday means Dundee United could stay in the First Division if they lose to promotion rivals Morton tomorrow.
It would be a huge blow to the whole of Dundee that if they didn't come up. Saying that, Morton have done exceptionally well, and my thoughts were that they were the best footballing team before Christmas, the best football team in the league by far, and everybody thought through the lack of a squad that they would falter. But here we are, going into the last game. It's going to be really difficult because Morton obviously know that if they win the game, they're in one of the two slots. So there's going to be some edge there, and the fans are travelling in their hordes because of this free buses. So there'll be a big crowd and there'll be some atmosphere. But I just feel that on the day, Mr. McGraw will not be happy with me, but I'm going to go for a United win.